Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that we should be doing more to help the planet. We know that we should be using less water, less electricity. We know that we should be flying less. We know that we should be walking or cycling instead of driving. And we know that we should be recycling more. And that's the topic that I want to talk about today. As an individual, however, sometimes it's not so easy to recycle if the infrastructure is not in place. For example, I live in Istanbul and there are no waste sorting facilities that I can use. So it makes it more difficult for me to recycle my waste. But today it's not Istanbul that I want to talk to you about. It's about a different city that is taking major steps to help its inhabitants recycle their waste. And that city is Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia. And Ljubljana is the first European capital to commit to going zero waste. Just 15 years ago, however, all of the waste produced in the city went straight to landfill. The problem with putting waste in landfill is that it produces a high level of methane emissions. And methane, of course, is a greenhouse gas, so it is a contributor to climate change. Landfill is also expensive. It takes up space that could be used for more productive purposes. And putting waste in landfill also means that we're throwing away resources that could be recycled or reused. So as I said, just 15 years ago, all of the Slovenian capital's waste went to landfill. But by 2025, however, it plans to be recycling at least 75% of its rubbish. So I want to just give you a brief idea of how the city managed to turn itself around. The transformation began with the introduction of separated rubbish collection. So the city council put paper, glass and collection points for paper, glass and packaging on the streets. They also set up collections at every household, at every door, for biodegradable waste. In 2013, every building in the city received its own bins for packaging and for paper waste, so people no longer had to go to the street collection points but could recycle a certain amount of their waste at their own front door. However, of course, there is still a certain amount of our waste that cannot be recycled, or that at least that cannot currently be recycled. And this brings me to the most controversial part of Ljubljana's plan, because what the council decided to do was to cut the number of collections for this residual waste, for this unrecyclable waste, in half. This meant that if people didn't want all the rubbish in their bins collecting up and overflowing, they would need to separate their waste more efficiently. The results have been impressive. 10 years ago, the city recycled less than 30% of its waste, putting it far behind the rest of Europe. Today, however, it is right at the top of the recycling leaderboard of European capitals, and it is well on its way to its 2025 target, because the city now recycles around 68% of its waste. So in conclusion, Ljubljana has not yet reached its target to produce zero waste, but it is well on its way, and it has done so in a very short amount of time. So I think it's important that we take Ljubljana as an example of how, with good planning, with the right infrastructure, we can reduce our impact on the planet in a very short space of time. Our time, however, is running out. So as individuals, we need to put pressure on our governments, both local and national, to make the necessary changes to help us do what's right for the environment before it's too late. Thank you.